all boils down to this, folks. The biggest game in club football is the 2021-2022 Champions League final. Who's going to come out top with the bling? We're going to take a little look next. Video today. We're looking forward to the biggest game in world club football. That's right, it's the UEFA Champions League final, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you knew where you've been, smash your subscribe and keep back to all things Champions League related, Club related, world football related. We got it all here, boys, under one roof. Of course, it is a repeat of the 2017-2018 final. Of course, it is Real Madrid, it is Liverpool. They'll do it all again, of course, coming at you this coming weekend. That's right, we'll take a look at it in a second. Of course, people shout out my VIPs, the other patrons, guys. You know who you are. But anyway, let's get into it, of course, and take a little look at how we all got to the stage, of course, before we digest the actual final itself. That's right, so let's jump in the deep end. Of course, remind ourselves of course, the group stages. Get over there, bloody. You're bloody blocking the shit. So there we go. Slide across. There we go. That's right. So remind ourselves, Manchester City did oust PSG in a very, very competitive Group A. Of course, both sides getting through to the knockout stages. RB Leipzig crashing out to the Europa League. Meanwhile, in Group B, of course, Liverpool did oust Atletico Madrid. They actually made it a clean sweep there. 6 wins on the bounce there. Atletico Madrid getting through as second place. That is a very, very difficult group when you recap it. Of course, Porto and, of course, AC Milan tumbling out at that stage. Into Group C, Ajax came out top with, again, 100%, 18 points on the board there. Sporting outing Borussia Dortmund, who have just sacked their manager after one season in charge. Absolute shit show there. Besiktas not really getting involved with it over in Group C. Meanwhile, over in Group D, finalists, Real Madrid had a difficult start, of course, with the Sheriff. That's right, causing all kinds of problems in there. But they did come out top, 5 points clear over Internazionale, who did go through to as runners-up in Group D. The Sheriff getting through to the Europa League in the end. Shakhtar were a bit of a disgrace in the end on that one. Meanwhile, in Group E, Bayern came through, 18 points, of course. I thought they were going to be real contenders, but of course they had a bit of an upset. We'll talk about that in a minute. Of course, Benfica coming through in second spot with Barcelona going through to the Europa League and, of course, failing to deliver in that competition as well. Dynamo Kiev also tumbling out in fourth spot as well. Into Group F, Manchester United surprised us all with, of course, getting through to the knockouts. 11 points, just 1 point clear of Villarreal, of course, who came comfortably into second spot. 4 points clear over Atalanta. Young boys burn there in fourth as well. How about Group G? Of course, Lille came out on top on that one just by a point over Salzburg. Both sides getting through to the knockout stages. Sevilla tumbling through to the Europa League, and of course Wolfsburg tumbling out. And then wrap it up. Of course, Juventus came through top of the box there, 15 points, with Chelsea in second and Zenit into third in the table. Of course, let's take a look at, of course, the last 16. Of course, the knockout stages there. Let me just get back in the middle, of course. There we go, and here they come. Of course, that's right, some zingers here. Of course, Benfica, they played Ajax. Internazionale took on Liverpool. Villarreal and Juventus locked horns. Of course, Salzburg up against Bayern in a bit of a Bavarian derby there, or Alps, or whatever you want to call it. Meanwhile, Real Madrid against Paris Saint-Germain was one of the games of the knockouts. Chelsea did play Lille. Of course, Atletico did play Manchester United. And of course, Sporting and Manchester City duked it out in a one-sided affair there. Meanwhile, Benfica did get past Ajax. Of course, Liverpool also got past the Italians there. Villarreal knocking out Juve, and Bayern coming through that one as well. Yeah, Real Madrid took on Chelsea in the zinger right there, and Atletico Madrid against Manchester City in a very, very tight game it was in the end. But of course, the 4 teams that got through were Liverpool, it was Villarreal, it was Real Madrid, and it was Manchester City to set up those semi-finals. But what about the second legs then? Of course, let's elaborate on that then, shall we? Of course, yes indeed. So Liverpool did play Villarreal in the game, real zinger in a second leg. It was actually 3-2 the final score. I went with the 2-1 win. Of course, Villarreal came back into that game 2-0 up they were, but of course Liverpool then turned on the flare, coming out on top 5-2 on aggregate to get through to that final. But of course, who were they going to take on? Were they going to take on the Premier League rivals? Of course, Manchester City, who were the favourite to win this game, or at least progress to the final. But of course, they took on Real Madrid, who never say die. I actually watched this game. 2-1 was my pick for Real Madrid, but it was actually 3-1. I actually turned the game off at the 89th minute. I was done. I was pissed off because I didn't want to see the oil tycoon, the oil barons, that was Manchester City, in the final. But of course, that 3-1 win was a 6-5 aggregate win for Real Madrid. They went through. I was absolutely I was stunned and amazed at that result. I turned it off. 89 minutes. I thought City were through. For that game to turn around the way it did, not only They had to score 2 goals to drag it into extra time. And it was in the 89th minute. There was no way that I thought that was going to happen. 6-5 though. Real Madrid, absolutely stunning. And for me, that sets up the final of finals. Of course, Manchester City against Liverpool would be good, but I can't get that taste out of my mouth if Manchester City were to win this illustrious trophy. So we do set ourselves up for a barnstormer, of course, and a repeat of that 2017-2018 final. Of course, Real Madrid looking for their first since that victory. Of course, Liverpool were victorious a year later with a win in 2018-2019, of course. But anyway, let's talk about that in a minute. Of course, let's take a look at, of course, the leaderboard then, shall we? Here we go. And of course, I take about these guys, Shane O'Donnell, Max Sangari, Iman Hussein and Ultra Omir also all picking up top points there, 2 out of 2, of course, and respect to the patrons, of course, keeping the channel alive. Meanwhile, the mini leaderboard, of course, the massive leaderboard, should I say, from the get-go, Max Sangari's got 1 point clear over Pim right now. It's between those two to come out on top as the predicting king for this tournament and get your name and likes on. I'm going to try and revitalise the website and get your name and likes over there. But anyway, Max Sangari currently leads. If he gets it right, it's over. However, if he gets it wrong and Pim goes the other way, and guess what? It goes to a draw or something. Anyway, Cutty Force UCL picks, of course, get in amongst it, get your name in likes, and of course, we'll see what happens in the roundup video, of course, which will be in the month of June. Anyway, that's, of course, that. Let's, of course, take a look at the final. Of course, it's these two juggernauts, Liverpool up against Real Madrid, of course, taking place this coming Saturday, May the 28th. That's right, goodness gracious me, locking horns for what will be the 8th time since 2009. 2 wins for Liverpool, 4 wins for Real Madrid, and 1 draw, of course, taking place at the Stade de France over in Paris, of course. Now, Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp at the helm, up against Everton's former manager, Carlo Ancelotti, of course, over at Real Madrid. That's right, so Liverpool coming to this on 92% form, winning 5 of the last 6, of course, up against the Real Madrid side. Just 1 defeat past 5 for them, 58% form for them as well. I am recording this on the 20th of May, so of course the final game of the Premier League and the final game of the La Liga still to be played. And still a lot riding on it for Liverpool. They've got more to lose, more to gamble heading into this. Now, this video will probably drop the day of, I think, the Premier League final day. So we'll see. Of course, Liverpool's biggest win over Real Madrid was a 4-0 win. The biggest win the other way was a 3-0 win for Real Madrid. In fact, Real Madrid scored 10 goals compared to Liverpool's 7 over the course of those 7 games since 2009, which works out around about 1.43 goals a game ratio for Real Madrid and just a 1 goal a game ratio for Liverpool over Real Madrid. Of course, let's recap, of course, the last time that these two sides played each other was in the quarterfinal stages of the 2020-2021 Champions League. And actually, Real Madrid were the victors in the end. 3-1, they beat them. Real Madrid beat Liverpool 3-1 at the first leg over at the Bernabeu. Of course, at Anfield was a 0-0 draw back in April 2021, of course. And it wasn't too long ago for that final. 3-1 it was on the final day of the Champions League back in May 2018. Last time Liverpool did pick up a victory, though. This goes back a bit, back a 4-0 win it was, back at the round of 16 in 2009. It's been a long time. They're well overdue a victory, of course, heading into this one as well. So, of course, heading into this match, of course, Liverpool winning 3 on the bounce, beating, of course, Aston Villa, Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup, and, of course, Southampton with a bit of a makeshift squad up against the Real Madrid side, who come into this on the back of a draw against Cadiz as well. They will take on Real Betis, though, this weekend. Real Madrid, they're expected to win this game. Up against the Liverpool side, also taking on Wolves, and they're expected to win that game as well. But what about the odds then for this one heading into this match, of course? So even Stevens is Liverpool, they are favoured to win this game. The bookies are backing them on this one. Up against the Real Madrid side, 5-2 for them to win after 90 minutes. 13-5 is your draw after 90. What about the odds then to go the distance to lift it, of course, whether it gets dragged into penalties, all that kind of stuff. 15-8 on is your Liverpool. They are stone cold favourites. 6-4 is your Real Madrid on this one, of course. So those, you've got to bear all that in mind. So the recent form between these two sides goes in favour of Real Madrid. The bookies go in favour of Liverpool, but of course they've also got a mega game this weekend in the Premier League, which of course could have major bearing of the team selection. They could pick up an injury. It could the morale could be down and in the dumps. The morale could be up in the air. Who knows? I think they're going to go into the Premier League game. They know that they're probably not going to win the title, but of course, if they were to somehow get the title, the euphoria will add on to this game. Of course, they will be on then for the quadruple. Remember that. Even if they don't get the Premier League, they'll be on for a really good, incredible season, probably one of the best ever. But of course, the Premier League will just abide them. But for me, my gut instinct on this one, I'm going to go with a bit of vengeance here for Liverpool. I'm going to go with a 3-2 win on this one. Goals galore. Just remember that. Real Madrid have been in these games. They've done it the hard way. And this is not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be an easy victory for Liverpool. It's going to be tight. Very, very tight. And I do anticipate maybe Real Madrid will do something different this time around. I think they'll be the one in the driving seat. Maybe a 2-1 lead going into half-time. Of course, putting Liverpool back up against the wall. Because let's take a look at how Real Madrid got to this stage. They went to Paris and they were on the verge of getting knocked out. Chelsea, of course, was hard work. Manchester City was even harder work. But can they beat 3 British or English teams along the way to the glory? That will be a good sort of precedence for La Liga. But I feel Liverpool have that the stronger bench right now. Of course, there are some individuals, really quality superstar players for Real Madrid. Your Modric, your Benzema's. You've got some standout superstar players there. But I think the team for Liverpool is just a different breed here. And I think it's going to be quite sad or a bit of a anticlimactic if they can't get the Premier League. I know they're not anticipating to win it, but to be on the cusps of a quadruple and winning 3 is fantastic, but it will be a little bit anticlimactic for them to be within the cusps of something as equal, if not better, than the Invincibles, of Arsenal way back when. So anyway, I do think that Liverpool will get their hands on this. A bit of vengeance as well for Klopp and of course Salah, who recently reminds us about that final, which of course they were a little bit hard done by in that result. But anyway, a good result for Liverpool. Another bit of glory, another bit of bling, and of course another benchmark in their quest to showcase the world that they are of an elite standard, and of course better than those oil barons of Manchester City, and of course the dying breed that is Manchester United, of course. Anyway, that's of course my take on it. I think Liverpool will come out on top on glory. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, of course, in the old comment section as well. And also make sure you get your picks in the link, free to enter, all that kind of stuff. We'll be back next season with the Champions League. Why not? Because of course this is the biggest tournament in world football, and of course we want to see who will actually become to glory next time around. But that's it, guys. Smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. See you soon for the next one. Till then, boys, we're done right now.